all you.
The View co-hosts say they are scared of Governor Ron DeSantis. We're going to discuss his Republican presidential primary chances and his war against DEI. President Biden delivers a fiery speech at Howard University, touting the biggest threat to the Black graduates is white supremacy. And the Durham Report is released, and all Americans should actually feel threatened by what is uncovered about the FBI, Obama White House, and Hillary Clinton campaign. It was all a hit job from day one, and nothing was out of bounds. And lastly, a pastor in Baltimore explodes on the Democrat leadership in the city and how they hug criminals. We're going to talk about all of that and more next. Enemy territory here. Hello. It's Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, and let me introduce you to my co-hosts. We have Shelly E, Yana, Kendra, and T is on vacation, but she will be back next week. All right, join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. Subscribe to our social media so you always know when we post new content. Also, if you like independent media and want to support what we do, donate. Any amount is appreciated. You can do that by checking us out on our website at www.popandpoliticslive.com. Again, for up-to-date information, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. And don't forget to hit that notification bell, and subscribe. All right, ladies, let's set it off. How's everyone doing tonight?
Doing well.
Hello.
Good. Welcome back, Kendra. Welcome back.
Did you miss me?
Yes, we did. All right, so we are going to get right into it. Lots to unpack tonight. We're going to start off with this clip from The View this week, and then I want to get you guys to respond. This is clip number 1.
But I will say what scares me about Ron DeSantis is that he offers Trumpism without Trump. So those people that are so repelled by Donald Trump, and there are many people, won't be as repelled by him, I think. And those manufactured culture issues seem to be very effective with that base, that particular base, and part of the Republican Party as well, definitely the right-wing part. But I think that he can be effective. And let's remember, he's a lawyer. He's Harvard and Yale trained and educated. He's not a stupid man. So he is really leaning into Trumpism, knowing what the base wants. And that scares me. I mean, he actually tweeted out about the young man that was killed on the subway with a chokehold by a former Marine. Jordan Neely, he actually is fundraising for his defense, and he's made $2 million already for killing a young black man. And you have Ron DeSantis, who's a lawyer, who says he is actually not not a vigilante, that he's this great guy, when in New York, it's just a reckless killing. And he was reckless in doing that. So for a lawyer to say what we're hearing Ron DeSantis just tells me how dangerous he is.
So there we have their gloomy from The View. I want to start off with you tonight, Shelly. So you see that she said she's scared. They're scared of DeSantis. And Sonny, which I call gloomy, says he offers Trumpism without Trump.
Yeah.
So get your thoughts on that. Is that a good thing? And how do you think that will play out in the Republican primary and general election if DeSantis decides to run?
No, see, what she didn't say and what they're not saying is what they're really afraid of Trump. Okay, that is the underlying message. They are afraid of Trump and anyone who purports his policies. See, it's not so much DeSantis himself, it's just that DeSantis is still doing and saying and sounding like Trump. Ultimately, they are so afraid that Trump is going to be reelected. That is really what gets them shaking in their boots. And not to mention, and we're probably going to mention this a little bit later, it'll come up, this Durham report that just came out that basically said what we all have been knowing and previous stories about this fake Russian collusion and who was really behind it. Guess what? All of us who have been called conspiracy theorists, it is coming to light. The truth is coming out. They are shaking in their boots that Trump is going to be reelected. That's what they're afraid of.
All right. I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana. I didn't see that. I didn't see what Shelley's saying there. Because we know the media is salivating about Trump running for re-election. That's all they talk about. They're obsessed with Trump. She actually did say she was afraid of DeSantis. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with Shelley? Are they afraid of Trump or are they afraid of DeSantis?
Well, yes, I agree with Shelley that they are afraid of Trump because actually right before Sunny was speaking, they were discussing Trump and how Trump is going to run, and they're worried about that, and they were actually giving some praise to DeSantis, and she's the only one who has some cautionary words for the Democrats about DeSantis. So it's funny to me that Trump makes everyone more popular. So whoever he talks about, even when Trump had he had some jabs at DeSantis, and now he's saying some things that are not so positive about him, but at the same time it's making DeSantis more popular and people are looking at him, and so it's really, I think DeSantis he owes a lot to Trump.
All right. I want to get your thoughts on this, Kendra. So, we're all kind of conservatives and you're on the left. What are your thoughts? I mean, as someone who's probably someone that they're kind of seeking, and I'm not talking about a primary, talking about a general election, who do you think is probably the harder beat, Trump or DeSantis?
I think that DeSantis would probably actually in a general election be harder to beat than Trump. And I say that simply because there is a subset of the Republican Party that do not like Trump, whether it be for how he treats women, whatever issue, or that, there's a part of the Republican Party that doesn't like how Trump does things or how he's acted. So I think that if Ron DeSantis can capitalize on the part of the Republican Party that Trump can't capture, then he could probably could beat any Republican in the general election.
Yeah.
Because
let me ask you this, because I want to talk about that, because Trump has been the main character in American life for the last 8 years. He has been the main ingredient politically, socially, culturally. He's everywhere. And now he wants in for 4 more years. I kind of think people are tired and ready to move forward. Now, I'm not talking about the primary. I'm talking about independents. I'm talking about a general election. So according to a recent poll quoted in The Hill, 70% of Americans, including 44% of Republicans, are opposed to his running for the presidency at all. In 2020, the last time he was the nominee, he lost to basically Biden in the basement, a walking cadaver. Certainly, the early primary polling has Trump doing extremely well. Primary polling, he's doing extremely well, but it's May. Before the primaries, before the caucuses, before the debates, before the voting, before his most effective challenger, which it would be DeSantis, has even entered the race. What are you guys thinking about that?
Look, I think you keep forgetting one thing, KJ. In all the statistics you just named, you're forgetting one thing. Those very similar statistics back in 2015, and guess who won? he did win for 4 years. And we know that subsequently, all of these collusion theories, conspiracies, all these things are coming to fore. This is what the View and the left are really afraid of. They are anti-Trump and they're anti-DeSantis, but they are so afraid that what they are putting out is going to backfire because all of these conspiracies are coming true. It's almost like this trick psychology they're trying to do. They're afraid of DeSantis. They absolutely detest Trump, but they are shaking in their boots that one of them, particularly Trump, is going to be reelected. He did win, so he is able to win again. He had a lot of the same things, same people. Republicans were against him running in 2015. People doubted him, and he did win.
Well, let's talk about that.
We can't be sure. We can't be sure who won.
No,
and
we
who
can never be
lost
sure, but
in
let's not. We
2020.
can't be sure, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, let's talk about that.
Exactly.
Let's talk about 2015. So, I mean, first of all, I was a Trump supporter. I am a Trump supporter. If he is the nominee, I will support him. I don't want him to be the nominee, but if he is the nominee, I will support him. But I am a pro-lifer. And Trump has been criticizing pro-lifers for a while now. He criticized DeSantis and others for being too harsh with abortion restrictions. And then Trump, evangelical voters like myself in 2015 rallied behind him because he was this pro-life advocate. Again, he was the first president to attend a pro-life March for Life back when the March for Life came in 2016, 2015. But he's kind of rallied against pro-lifers again, and I don't like his stance, the Trump vax. The Trump vax, I'm calling it that. The Trump vax, his warp speed, his warp speed technology that he came out with has really turned out to be not what it was supposed to be. I mean, we know that now many people have suffered. There's been a lot of stuff come out about the vaccine, how, it did not stop the spread. It was not something that stopped the spread. Trump has been rallying against this. He didn't fire Fauci. We are stuck with Fauci because of Trump, because of the Trump vax, because of Operation Warp Speed. He didn't fire Comey. I mean, this stuff wasn't in 2015. Now all this is coming out now. I mean, is it, time for conservatives to kind of take a second look and see who else is out there?
I think that if the Conservative Party wants to win the White House again, y'all have to find another candidate. Simply because you have to find somebody that the independents and possibly moderate Democrats are able to get behind. And I don't think Trump is going to be that person. I honestly think that when you look at I think he's a polarizing force. And if we want to move forward and progress forward, I think we're going to need somebody else that can do that people can be like, you know what? He's not, because there has to be some sort of compromise when it comes to being able to get us to move forward, because you have two parties sitting split down the middle and nobody's doing anything because one party wants to be right. And so I think that I don't think Trump is the way. I think DeSantis probably would have a better, he has more of an appeal for people. He would probably appeal better to people who are, that aren't as right-leaning or left-leaning. So, but I think that Trump he's gonna make the most noise. But I don't think that he'll get the most votes. And that's just because I don't think people, it's hard to hear past the noise and actually look at his report card and what he wants to do because of kind of who he is. And he likes to make a big splash and sting. So I think DeSantis would probably be a better shot. But we gonna see.
Well, I mean, that's actually what KJ said, is that DeSantis might be a bit more radical than Trump, as what you said, KJ, is that DeSantis maybe will have a harsher stance on abortion than Trump, right? Or
no, I think he's a stronger supporter of life. I do think that, and I'm not just me. Trump actually criticized the pro-life movement, So I was with him for
pro-life until he got elected until he became a Republican.
Well, he did put like nominees for the Supreme Court. He put constitutionalists on the Supreme Court, and I love him for that. But it was like after he got elected and, these past several years, he's come out and he's been very critical of the pro-life movement. DeSantis is somebody that has shown he can get stuff done.
In Florida, and he has yet again. Let me say, I'm going to say what you said. I'm going to vote for the nominee, right? Whoever's nominee, I'm going to vote, because I will be damned if I vote for a Democrat and a leftist. I will be damned if I do. I want you all to pin me to a tree and tar and feather me, okay? If I did that. However, DeSantis needs to come out. He needs to start revving up his game. He really does. Grant, as much of a Trump supporter as I am, I had some problems with Trump, particularly with the lockdowns. I think he went against his gut. Yes, I wanted him to fire Fauci, but I am not going to totally castigate or throw out his chances, because he is a winner. He has been a winner. So he has been a winner. He has proven that he can do that. Again, whoever the nominee is, I'm going to support them. I want DeSantis to step up his game.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely he was a winner. He was a winner. But DeSantis is, I think he's shown that he can get stuff done. I mean, what he's doing in Florida, yes, it's just Florida, but I mean, Florida is kind of a microcosm of the United States. It was not red, and he's turned that state totally red. He's expanded the Republican Party in Florida and is growing its share among Hispanic voters. He also earned the loyalty of mama bears like me, and other parent voters during the pandemic, when he stood up for normal schooling and against masks and vaccine mandates. He was not mandating the Trump vax. He did not do that. And when we needed someone to stand up for us against the deep state, DeSantis actually did it during the lockdowns. Trump just complained about it.
Well, I hope that if DeSantis becomes the next president, I hope that he is not going to be manipulated by the deep state. That's the issue. What happens is that once they get into that real power, that's when the real manipulation begins. So I really hope, and you got to be a strong person, really strong to go against that cabal. And Trump, I think at this point, I mean, I'm hoping, well, if he becomes president, I hope that at this point he has nothing to lose, and he'll just, he's not, like, DeSantis is still young. Like, he's still got his, he still has a lot to lose. Trump, I want him to be like a real hero and just say exactly how it is, be super radical and expose everyone. Like, that's what I really hope that Trump, after this, I mean, they really dragged him through everything, through hell this whole time. So if he comes to power, I think that's why they're so afraid, because I feel like he's going to be unhinged.
I hope so. I mean, like I said, I want investigations. I want it all. But most importantly, I want to get this resident out of the White House. I want to take back the White House. And if we need to do it, we need it for this country, to save this country. As I posted on my social media before, we need a Republican in the White House. So, can Trump do it? I don't know. I know he can definitely win the primary. I do know that, but I don't know if he can win a general election. So I'm hoping that he can. And we'll just have to wait and see. But we got to move on here. I want to talk about something else gloomy from The View. Said the manufactured cultural issues that she mentioned of DeSantis. And one of those is DEI. So Governor Ron DeSantis on Monday signed legislation that prohibits state-funded colleges and universities from spending money on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. In addition to defunding DEI projects, the law also bars public colleges from infusing critical race theory and related grievance politics ideologies into curriculum for general education courses. So he says, and I quote, the law states, those classes may not distort significant historical events or include a curriculum that teaches identity politics, stemming from theories that systemic racism, sexism, oppression, and privilege are inherent in the institutions of the United States and were created to maintain social, political, and economic inequities, according to the law. Once again, my man is not playing around. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. This has driven, as Shelley would say, the left apoplectic. They are pissed at him for passing this law or signing it, which was done or encouraged by the legislature. So, I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley. Do you think this is something that should have been passed?
Yeah. Look, DEI programs on average, I read an article, I think it was by Medium, talks about like the average cost of DEI is upwards of about $2 million, right? And that's on average. What are we getting for it? More division, right? More violence, if you will, more policies that hurt the people that they are supposed to help. It's ludicrous. It's doing nothing really for us. We can teach children history, even the ugly parts of American history. We should teach that, right? That's if it's true, it's true. Teach it. But why do the taxpayers have to fund this monstrosity, this basically a boondoggle, this black hole? I think public institutions should not be footing these bills. We're not getting anything for it. So yes, in that sense, I'm glad that DeSantis has vetoed, or what do you call it, cancel all those programs. Yes.
I want to get your thoughts on this, Kendra. You know, you are again on the left. What do you think about this law?
Here's the thing. I think that when you limit someone's ability to discuss and to create and form their own opinions, I feel like it does a disservice. Simply because at the end of the day, we know that you can create information to make it fit your narrative, right? But I feel like when it comes to the educational system, it needs to be factual to be taught versus anything that you can find on a Wikipedia page. So I feel like when we start limiting what can be taught, it does us all a disservice. Now, I'm not in any way saying that it should be the only thing taught, but I am saying that I think that it gives people a broader scope to know where we came from, so that we don't return there, and to be able
we do that now. Why can't we just teach American history or world history or whatever the history may be? Why does it have to be?
That's what I'm saying. But how many times has it not been included?
What is the DEI? What is the goal?
My thing is this: if the goal is to be able to provide the information and let the children make their own decision about how they feel about the history of our country, like if we're honest, African American history as it stood when I was in school 10 years ago, it was we were slaves. Martin Luther King came. No, Harriet Tubman ran. Martin Luther King came, and we was all. That's the extent of what was being taught. So I think that if you're going to teach American history, we need to revise what American history is so that it includes more, so we don't have to have the DEI.
Right.
But I want to jump in there if I could. I want to get Yana in on this because a lot of this DEI stems from Marxism. And so I want to get your thoughts. Do you agree with the law, Yana? And do you see the Marxist correlation between these types of policies?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it is definitely coming from Marxists. Marxists are doing this because they want to change this country completely. They want a revolution. So they don't want people to love this country and to love its origins, its beginnings, its constitution. It's really to uproot everything what this country stands on. So that's why when you talk to a Democrat, a leftist, they hate the Constitution. They want to change it. They teach that the founding fathers were flawed. But they don't stress on the fact that a lot of those founding fathers were against slavery even in those days. So instead of stressing on that, they stress on the ones that had the slaves, and they don't stress on the fact that George Washington ordered to free all his slaves, but right before he died. They don't stress on those things. No, they're going to stress on all the negative things. And what it's doing is actually it seeps into the psyche of the person to start to hate everything about this country, and then, oh, we need a revolution, we need to change it. And so that's when the Marxists come in and they offer a new version, a new utopia that we can create. And so that is exactly what they're doing. If you want the nation to be strong, you teach patriotism. That is what they're doing in all the other countries that are becoming much stronger right now. And first you teach patriotism and love for this country, and then sure, when they want to go into in depth, when they want to be historians, of course they're going to look into the negative
I
things.
don't think that I should have to want to be a historian to know the facts of what happened in this country.
No, DEI doesn't even, they don't even teach
that.
But my thing is this: we wouldn't need DEI if history was taught accurately.
Well,
Do you know
you're
free?
Let's talk about
free now. Do you know
that?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
DEI doesn't even teach that we're free now. They still have.
That's what I'm saying. Which is why
So
my issue is not. I'm not saying that DEI is the way to go, but I'm also saying that in the system that we currently have, while we're talking about why we don't need DEI, let's go ahead and make sure that
I have talked about it a lot, Kendra. I have talked about it a lot. I know what they don't teach. They don't teach Booker T. Washington's life story at all. You know why? You know why? Because he was not blaming anyone. He was teaching how to stand up for yourself, how to be productive, how to work, have a business, have skills. That's what he did. And they don't teach that. They don't teach that.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk about what it is before we go any. Let's talk about what they're doing. So these are some of the programs that this law is pushing back against. So, for example, Florida State University divides students according to a matrix of oppression and offers a racially segregated scholarship that deliberately bars white students from applying. Florida International University condemns the United States as a system of white supremacy and trains students for participation in violent left-wing protests. The University of South Florida encourages students to attend racially segregated counseling programs and promotes reparations, defund the police, and prison abolition. The University of Central Florida condemns the United States again as a white supremacist culture and encourages active discrimination against the oppressor class characterized as male, white, heterosexual, able-bodied, and Christian. These are
to sum it up, DEI teaches racial division, oppression, victimology, and it's all one way. It's all white people doing all of this to black people. Damn it, black people, you have been free for a long time, for centuries now, and we still have not grasped that message or that understanding that we are free. We don't need these boogeymans coming to telling us, oh no, you're still not free. White people are still oppressing you.
Yeah, I believe in moderation. But this stuff, gender ideology, BLM activism, DEI bureaucracy are taking over, and the effects are not good. It's not. Heather McDonald just came out with something. She did an article, I believe it was in Manhattan Institute, and she talked about how feminism, these gender studies courses, are really ruining the dynamic, the social and educational culture on academic campuses. It's a really good piece. I suggest you guys read it. She says legislators have an opportunity to I have it here. So she says here that these institutions are putting in all of these gendered classes or gendered programs, and it's changing the makeup of these colleges and universities.
Exactly. It's again to teach this oppression to whatever class. So like the lower classes or women or minorities. It's all to rally up the minorities to hate the country and get together and create a revolution. That's really the goal.
And not to mention that academically, just on an academic basis, what is this DEI curriculum preparing the graduates for or the students for? Because when they leave the universities, what are they going to do? They can't read, can't write, still can't do math. What kind of jobs are they going to have? Seriously. I mean, so even academically, it's not even preparing the students, certainly not black students,
to be the future workers of the Communist Party.
Exactly.
Right. And I'll tell you what else it's creating and comparing. Let's take a look at this. This is Biden at historically black college, Howard University here in D.C., giving his commencement speech to a predominantly black audience. And take a look at what he said here.
To stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy. To stand.
Did you guys see that? So he is giving his commencement speech to the class of 2023 at Howard University, which is a historically black college, and he tells them that their biggest threat into the homeland is white supremacy. I want to get you to talk about this, Kendra. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with that?
Hey, Jada, I knew you was gonna come over here bothering me now. Wait a minute now. Listen. Why you call me? Ask somebody else. I don't have nothing to say. No comment.
Oh, you better say that's your president.
That's your president too, girl. That's your president. He our president. We in this together.
This is what he said. Is this our biggest threat? We're black women. White supremacy. It's a joke.
Go on. Go to somebody else.
It's a joke.
It's condescending. It is demagoguery. It's propaganda. Remember, let's put the other bookend on this. While he was in a basement bunker somewhere during the campaign, what did he tell the Breakfast Club? If you didn't vote for him, you weren't black, right? So these are just two bookends of the same ideology. This is bull. There are no white supremacists hunting down, keeping black people suppressed. Black people can't get ahead, not because of somebody's wearing a KKK a robe or whatever. And not only that, it's interesting that many of the people who are telling black people these things, they're white themselves, but they clap for this foolishness. I don't get it. What are white people preventing? This is a lie. That's basically what it is. It's a lie.
He looks like Satan, like in that video, like literally like this. There's like he has no color, and it's like dead, like he's dead, and he's telling like he came from hell, and he's like, you guys, that's what I have to tell you. I know you're graduating, but these are my words of encouragement.
Yeah,
my thing is, if for somebody, HBCUs are expensive.
His lies come from the pits of hell. They're lies.
My thing is this: if I spent the amount of money that it costs to go to a historically black college, because I went to one, and somebody got up there and that's what you gave me, like your graduation speech is supposed to be, I paid $79,000 for this piece of paper. I need you to ignite the fire in me so I can go forth and prosper. And that's what you give me. You want to talk about poison?
Well, I think if you pay that much money, you should already be ignited before you even get to his ass.
No, but that's supposed to be that's the celebratory moment. I done got through financial aid office 4 years straight, got through these classes, did all my externships, did everything I was supposed to do. Like now you supposed to tell me the world is an oyster. Go for it and be great.
What they do. This is what the left has been doing. They push this victim mentality on black people, and black people run with it. But I want to go down this list really quickly for any black people that are watching who believe this crap. It's lies. In 2021, 87% of all non-lethal interracial violent crimes committed between blacks and whites in the U.S. were black on white. Over 480,000 incidents with a black offender and a white victim, and 69,800 incidents with a white offender and black victim, or 7 times as many black on white as white on black incidents of interracial non-lethal violence. So basically, whites have more to fear from blacks than blacks from whites.
Let's add to that. Blacks have more to fear from blacks because we are living it in our communities virtually every day across the country. So black on black crime and violence is skyrocketing already. It's already skyrocketing. Unfortunately, it's going to get worse. I mean, I hope it doesn't, but it's trending that way. So for him to come to Howard or notice he did this at a historically black university, and these idiots clapped. with their $79,000 sheepskin. They clapped and supported this. Again, what are they learning? What are they prepared for? That whole class, or at least many of them, are going to go out into the world and see every white person as some kind of demon or oppressor, and then they're still not going to get anywhere. It's going to be the white man's fault for everything that they don't do, thanks to Joe Biden, while he's still racking up millions from Ukraine, China, his family, and his drug addict son.
Yeah, but it's the media. The media pushes these narratives. Anytime you have a situation where it's black on black crime, it's deraced. They don't. Well, I mean, they don't say anything about the ethnicity of these people. But as soon as they find something where a white person has done something to a black person, it's all pushed. The racial narrative is pushed and pushed constantly and constantly and constantly.
And it's almost like they don't want people to have any other opinion. It's like, yeah, you went to a good university, you were able to, afford it, or you got a scholarship, you lived in Washington, D.C. this whole time. I mean, I've lived in Washington, D.C., not far from Howard. I mean, this is it's not a bad place to be. And then, but don't forget, the threat of white supremacy. Don't even look at all the positive things that might be happening in your life. Don't forget about white supremacy. It's like, if we removed all these race baiters, I think people would not even think about race, like most of the time. Generally speaking, they wouldn't.
Yeah, and it's I don't like to hear these numbers. In case anybody, for the podcast people who can't see us, I'm black. I'm not just black. I'm blankety black. I don't want to hear these numbers.
I'm black too, but you can't tell.
Right. You can't deny the facts. And this double standard and the fiction that blacks are under daily risk of their lives from whites do no one any good. It's actually hurting our community. It really is. And this is all facts laid out in statistics and everywhere. You can get it right here. The Journal of American Medical Association recently reported that in the first 18 months of the coronavirus pandemic, black juveniles 17 and younger died of gun homicide at 100 times the rate of white juveniles. This is it. We're not making this up, but they keep pushing these false narratives.
Exactly.
So, we just wanted to bring that to you guys. I want to look at. I do have a comment here. Let me see here. Okay, here I want to stress this. We have here. We have someone who did a super chat. The Fraser Factor, Trump 2024. All right, and I saw someone say I have TDS. I do not. I will say again that I did vote for Trump. I did vote for him, and I will vote for him again if he is the nominee. I do not have Trump derangement syndrome. I worked on the Trump campaign here in Baltimore City. I do not have it, but I am open to other people in the primary. Is this a republic? Is this is what democracy is all about? Is it not? I mean, I'm not a always Trumper. I have a brain and I think, and I'm just not. And so if you are, you have to really ask yourself why. I mean, we haven't even gotten the full pool of people running yet. If you are one of these people that is a always Trumper, I think as a Republican, as someone who wants to look at all the facts, that's not good. It's just me. But I want to say that. So if you guys hate me, I'm sorry, but I am conservative. I'm very conservative. But I am not an always Trumper. I'm open. Sorry. Okay. All right. So I'll just say that, and we'll keep it going. We're moving on to John Fetterman. Yeesh. So talk about I want to talk about this. This is John Fetterman. This is clip number 3. Take a look.
Is it staggering? Is it a staggering responsibility that the head of a bank could literally crash our economy? It's astonishing. That's like if you have, I mean, like, and they also realize is that now they have a guaranteed way to be saved by no matter by how, you know. So it's you know, isn't it appropriate that this kind of control should be more stricter to prevent this kind of thing from going? Or should we just go on and start bailing and sailing whoever bank, regardless of how their conduct is? You know, I'll give you an example. The Republicans want to give a work requirement for SNAP. You know, for a hungry family has to have this kind of penalties, or some kinds of working required. Shouldn't you have a working requirement after we sell your bank with billions of your bank? Because they seem to be more preoccupied than SNAP and requirements for works for hungry people, but not about protecting the taxpayers, you know, that will bail no matter whatever does about a bank to crash it. Sure.
Wow.
So, do you guys? This was someone. If you guys remember, he was the senator running in Pennsylvania. Trump endorsed and backed Dr. Oz, ran against him, and he lost against that.
Yeah.
And the man, I mean, I feel bad for him. He should not even be in the Senate, but they voted for him anyway.
Well,
I'm confused. Okay, I was trying to follow, but I think I needed subtitles on mine so I can. Yeah. Maybe if I read it, it'll make
that wouldn't help. That wouldn't. The subtitles
look,
wouldn't help.
For a minute, I thought I was listening to Kamala Harris for a minute there. So
she didn't even have a stroke.
Yeah, she doesn't have one. So I thought I was into her.
He had a stroke.
He had a stroke, which is the only reason why I have a little bit more
in the primary, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Well, I have a little bit more, you know, I guess I would say pity or sympathy for him because he's had a stroke legitimately. I don't know about Kamala Harris, but hell, she's in there too.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, I feel sorry for anyone who is suffering, but I think it's abuse. You know, his family pushed him on the Democrat Party, which we can't be surprised because they have Biden resident in chief in the office right now. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going.
Now, y'all had John McCain for all them years up there. Now y'all can't be talking about folks. Y'all be having skeletons up there in Congress. Don't do it.
The only thing John McCain had a physical injury. John McCain had a physical injury from being a POW. He had his mental faculties. So he had a physical
injury. I think that's why we need to move to a point where we have competency tests for everybody.
John McCain had his faculties. This is the Democrat side. And notice this is all the Democrat side. And look, it's the party. The party is basically taking over these people, and they are behind this. From the Russian collusion, they will do anything to win, and they will put anybody up and abuse them. This is what that party has done and is doing.
Look at Feinstein in California. You talk about a walking skeleton. My goodness, she hasn't even been in Congress for what, months? She hasn't even shown up. I mean, I'm sorry to say, I believe she's not doing well, but they continue to wheel her on out there.
Right, exactly. And I think American people deserve better than this.
Term limits. This is a perfect example. Even though he's a freshman, so he would still be there. But I do think that we should have term limits so that way people can go and be great after they've served and did their time. But I think for him, I don't even know what he said, so I can't even comment on it because I was confused because I thought we was talking about the bank. Then he started talking about food stamps, and then I got hungry. So sorry, guys, I blacked out. Whoops.
I mean, he was trying to make a point, something about that, you know, the CEOs of the bank, they need to be punished for letting people down, you know, when the banks failed. But he couldn't put his words together because of what he's not well. Like he's really, his health is not
and
good.
that point, I agree that for like we as a country, we can't keep bailing out businesses because they made bad
Right.
decisions.
And that's what he
Obama and
was trying
Biden bailed out the bank.
I'm saying so did Bush. Hold up. Bush did it too. Hold on now. Everybody, all of them done did it. Whether it was the banking industry, the car industry, all of the industries. But if
Well,
it's
Biden
an
did it
industry,
this time.
they will
So
bail it
what
out.
I have to say
But the
about this
problem
is I feel sorry for the guy, but the American people deserve better than politicians who cannot even put two words together. So like if I apply for a job, they're gonna interview me to make sure that I can present myself. They might even ask for a writing sample to see if I can write properly. So, but for politician, we have people who cannot even speak. So like that is unfair.
It's unfair.
It's harder to get, and I work in HR. It's harder to get a job working for, because I actually work in HR for government agencies. It's harder to get a job working for the government than it is to work as an elected official, because elected officials in essence it's a popularity contest. It's who can raise the most money to convince people to vote for them. Merit is not necessarily on the ballot. Competency isn't on the ballot. But to work in the government, you got to be able to give them at least your kidney and your firstborn. So I think that is the problem, that we need to make it more strenuous for the people that are legislating for us on behalf of the people, to make sure that anybody that is sitting there on both sides, Republican and Democrat, that they are competent enough and of a sound mind. Because
John Fetterman he did not have a sound mind when he was elected. But as someone mentioned, elections do have consequences, and that takes us to the Durham Report. The troubling conclusions in Special Counsel John Durham's Russiagate report is that the FBI, even as it relied on Clinton campaign-funded opposition research against Donald Trump that it failed to verify, ignored strongly supported intelligence that Hillary Clinton, the nasty witch Hillary Clinton, was intentionally smearing Trump as a Putin puppet. We need to talk about this. This was released this week. The media is not talking about it. The mainstream media is not talking about it. Well, I'll take that back. Jake Tapper, he did mention it, something about it on CNN. This is clip 5. Take a look at what he said.
Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald Trump.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley, of the report.
I've been saying this for a while, and when I say things like this, people tell me I'm an anarchist and I'm a rebel. This is one of the reasons why I think we need, again, no, not I think, I know our government is too big, okay? Our government is too big. When we have people in positions and in institutions that are supposed to be protecting Americans and Americans' interests, they are actually working against us. They are undermining our Constitution. They're undermining our votes. They are basically, they're in power and control positions, and that's what they want. They want to make us their cogs. This is awful. This is embarrassing. Again, many of us knew other things have been coming out over the last 4 or 5 years. We knew this. Yet these same people who are in control and power, they should be out of office. They should be out of those positions. It should be an overhaul. Our government needs to be smaller in general, and the FBI needs to be whitewashed. Or did I say whitewashed? Blackwashed, or whatever you want to call it, from the top on down. It's too big.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on this, Yana, because this was so disappointing to me and stunning, this report, that it makes me, all the conspiracy theories what they call conspiracy theories that we've heard over the last several years seem to be true. We know that the report clearly said there was no valid predicate for the investigation, and the FBI knew it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I knew it when at the time I just recently I was working for a Russian TV station, and when the whole thing came out with the Russia collusion, I was like, no, I remember who they supported. They supported Bernie Sanders and some Green Party candidate. They never supported Clinton. They don't like Clinton. I'm sorry, Trump. They didn't like Trump. I mean, they were neutral to him. So I knew at the time that wasn't true. And what is doing, I mean, again, like I said, it's that the cabal that, you know, people are in power, they have their jobs at the FBI for the rest of their lives, and so they're completely, it's like a mafia. And so what it makes me think also of other countries, like what was happening in the 90s or even beyond in Russia, what happens in other country whenever they do not like somebody in the government, or someone who wants to run for office, they're going to manufacture some kind of crime or something that they did in the past, maybe taxes or whatever, and so they're going to bring that up in order to remove that person and take the possibility of them ever being in power. And so America has unfortunately turned into that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get your thoughts on this, Kendra. Specifically, I mean, the report also found that there, of course, was nothing there as far as leading them to Trump being a tool for Russia or the Kremlin. But what they did find was that Clinton had some information, and they failed to investigate her. So in late July 2016, U.S. intelligence agency, and I quote from the report, obtained insight into Russian intelligence analysis alleging Hillary Clinton approved a campaign plan to stir up a scandal against Trump by tying him to Putin and the Russians' hacking of the Democratic National Committee. So in actuality, they found something on Clinton, but decided not to proceed with it. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it just goes to show that people will use their power to create whatever narrative they want to fit their agenda. And, you know, the FBI isn't known for being integral. Like, if we're honest, like, they're not known for their ability to shoot straight with the information. They're generally known to have information and twist it to whatever narrative whoever they want to have the information to fit. So I'm not surprised there. I think that it's sad because because people take sound bites and bits and pieces, and again, instead of taking the truth and the facts as they are, they twist it and manipulate it. And then you have people, when you hear the FBI, of course, they're not thinking like the FBI is shady or anything like that. They're like, oh, these people know what they're supposed to be doing. They work for the government. So I just think that it's sad that, you know, it's not like it's exclusive to the Democratic Party. It's just the FBI in and of itself. And, you know, and sadly, it's politics. Part of politics is being the dirty game. Find the information, create whatever you need to, the appearance of, so that way people will not buy into what you're saying factually, but they'll just believe the smoke and mirrors. So that way you
Let me ask you this, Kendra, because you said something there that I think we need to get into. You said that it's not exclusive to the Democrat Party. When have we seen something like this occur, when a political party, someone running for office, uses government institutions like the FBI against the opposition political candidate?
Well, I think that what happens is you start out with little seeds. It's like, okay, let me find some hooker that they slept with back in the day, and then it just builds that you be like, okay, we got away with that.
Let's try this. Treason. They have accused Donald Trump of treasonous activity. He
That's,
was
and I'm sorry that he got accused.
He wasn't even in the room.
They tried to say the president of the United States was a Russian plant.
I'm not saying what they did was right.
He wasn't even in the room in Russia that they claimed he was in. Number one, there was another guy. I'm sure I'm butchering his name, Doncho, whatever. That they didn't even interview. Who really gave the report and all this in the Durham report. I'm still reading through this Durham report, and it's very salacious against the FBI. But the close to your point, KJ, the closest that anybody will come from the left, they will say, of course, Nixon, which is why he resigned, right? And there's even some fishy things about that era, okay? However, the FBI is corrupt. Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name. He's one of the Republican nominees or candidates in the primary, and one of his platforms is to literally reduce, do away with Social Security Administration, the FBI, and I wrote on some of his social media, he needs to include the IRS in there. All of these big institutions, they have become superpowers, and they basically inundate Americans. They were never supposed to have done that. But again, as people get more power, they don't know how to let it go. They become the institution. That's what Fauci said. Fauci said, hell, I am science. That's what Fauci said about himself, right? Americans, we need to really pull out our Constitution and really understand where the power lies. It lies with us as citizens, as Americans. It does not lie with the people in office, at the FBI and the IRS. We have the power. And until we take it back and demand its rightful place, this is going to keep happening.
I want to get Yana.
No, I actually agree with that.
Yana to just respond to this, because something that has not been brought up is, again, we know that Hillary Clinton was pushing this lie that Trump was colluding with the Russians. And the Russians knew and took advantage of it. So you have the Russians, you have Hillary Clinton, you have the Obama administration. The media was behind this. It was this get Trump. Why? Why was Trump this big? And again, I'll say this, they were afraid of Trump. In 2015,
the Russians have said back then, they have said that they denied any kind of collusion, obviously. So the Russians have never said that they put in fact, what did Putin? He said something like I can't believe you guys think that I am so powerful. So that I literally put a president of the United States in place. And so that is what the Democrats were trying to say. And so sorry, your question was, why Trump? Because he was going to shake things up. Whenever somebody comes in and says, I want to drain the swamp, I want to, change how things are run. Of course, people who have been there for ages and generationally, they're afraid of that. And also, what if he exposes something that is really, really they didn't want people to see? And what happened to a president who wanted to expose secrets? He got shot. So that has happened to Kennedy. So so right now, maybe their first resort is to create some sort of lie and to try to get the guy away from power. So yeah, it's anyone who wants to. So that's why I hope if Desantis becomes president that he is not he's not in trouble.
All right. We do have some super chats here. Thank you guys so much. I have here Giovanni Patterson, a super sticker, he says here. And then let me see here. Giovanni Patterson again, he says, whoever donates the most wins. So I'm not sure what that means, but thank you so much. Definitely appreciate that, Giovanni. All right, so we will continue to check the comments periodically throughout the show. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. Hit that notifications bell so you always know when we go live or when we post content. And share this broadcast. As we can see, people have been pushing back against this There is fake news. There is a deep state. And more. There's so much stuff that has come uncovered, and it's not by mainstream media. It's about independent media, about people like us, people like you guys, sharing and sharing broadcasts like this, and really just getting into the stuff that the media, mainstream media, is not willing to get into. I mean, had the mainstream media actually investigated and asked probing questions throughout 2015, 16, and 2020, we may have gotten to this a lot sooner than we have. But they continue to be propagandists for the Biden administration. We have this man who doesn't know whether he's coming or going. He actually hasn't even done any press conferences or answer questions from the press. And what they're saying is historically a long time. And they continue to be complacent. They continue to just not question. So if you support independent media like us, please subscribe. All right. We are moving right along. We're going to go right into something going on here in Baltimore, but this is actually happening across cities across the country. But they're here in Baltimore. There is a local pastor, Pastor P.M. Smith, who is pushing back against the Democrat Party. He is here in Baltimore City, and he gave an explosive interview on WBAL radio recently. This is clip number 6. Take a look.
It's not just East Baltimore. I think it was Tip O'Neill that said all politics is local. So whatever happens nationally, no big deal to me. It's more important to me who the police commissioner is than who the Secretary of Defense is. It's more important to me who the CEO of the public schools rather than the Secretary of Education, because there are basically 3 things that matter to every citizen in Baltimore: public safety, crime, that emphasizes the quality of life, economic opportunity, not only jobs, but ease up on them taxes and those speed cameras and the water bills, and then educational excellence for my grandkids. Non-existent in Baltimore, and in all 3 areas, every office holder, and I don't call them leaders. I'm old enough to know leadership when I see it. They're just office holders. These office holders get an F in every one of these categories. These are the 3 things that matter to every citizen in Baltimore, not just East Baltimore.
So that was Pastor P.M. Smith. Full disclosure, that is my pastor. He was on fire, and we have a couple clips to show of him, but he's talking about the Democratic leadership here in Baltimore City. I want to start with you, Shelley, longtime Baltimorean, born and raised. What are your thoughts on his comments?
Well, first of all, Pastor Smith, I would even call him Baltimore's pastor, because he's the real pastor in Baltimore. He's been if you want to call it an advocate, if you will, for years. This is not new with him, and he speaks the truth. He does not care who. He's no respecter of persons. Let's put it like that. He's no respecter of persons. He cares about truth. He cares about Baltimoreans. He cares about safety, because guess what? As a pastor, he has to bury many of our dead, okay? He's burying them every week or however frequently it may be. He sees the grief and the pain. He has seen the changes in Baltimore, the dirt, the debris, the decay, the corruption. He has seen it. And he also, like he said, they're not leaders. They're just in office. They're in office to enrich themselves, to get more power on their next step to wherever they're going next. They're using Baltimoreans. And again, it's deadly. It's destroying our society, our community. Pastor Smith should be applauded. I mean, he probably wouldn't want the applause, but he should be, and he should be supported. He is absolutely correct. More people need to get on his bandwagon and do what he does every day of the week.
Yeah, and we've talked about this earlier in the show, how many of these urban cities are run by Democrats, and the people that live in these cities continue to vote for them. This is clip number 7. Take a look, and I want to get your response to this, Kendra.
If the voters believe that, and we believe that, why is it that they keep electing the same politicians that don't achieve those particular goals?
The Stockholm Syndrome. Over and over, there's only one party that African Americans vote for in Baltimore City or in the state of Maryland. That's why there's a supermajority on city council and a supermajority in the state legislature. In fact, there has not been there has only been a Democrat city council since 1942. Translation, there has never been a Republican on city council since 1942. Wow. I was born in 47. Check it out. Google it. Well, there has not been a Republican. So we only vote one way. We vote for one party. We vote for a person that we like, a person that sounds like Martin Luther King, a person that promises stuff that they never perform. And we never look at the policies based on values that are counter to our own.
So we're speaking.
We can't hear you.
Kendra,
I can hear
why
you.
do Black folk continue to vote Democrat? And the cities that they live in are dying, literally and figuratively.
Politics come down to popularity contests. So whoever can reach the people get the vote. Not saying that it's right. I think that what your pastor said is true, and somebody send me his Cash App so I can send him a love offering, because he said the truth. He said that, you know, on the measurables of a lot of these politicians, they're not, you know, I like you, cool. I can like anybody, but at the same point, in the same token, you're elected for the people, by the people. And so you need to make sure that your resume matches that. And I think that there's a lack of accountability. I think that Black people are scared to hold people accountable when it comes to politics and ask hard questions and say, hey, you told us you was going to do this back in 1990.
So we'd rather our community keep dying, our children dying. We'd rather have the dead bodies than to take a chance on something else that might work.
I think that I'm not saying that it's right. I mean, I will say that my brother also ran for Baltimore City Council, because y'all know, hey, buddy, hey, brother. And you know, I think that he provided a look and to say, hey, look, there's another way. But I think that it's sad that you have to. It's that way. You know, there are a lot of people that vote Democrat because they was just told Black people supposed to be Democratic, and that's just what they know. And that's sad because people aren't getting elected based off of merit and what they're doing. They're getting because, well, Big Mama been voting Democrat since she could vote. So we just gonna keep going down there, hit the little button, and it's sad. But I think until we get to a point where we're ready to see change, until we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and say somebody has to be the disruptor of the system and say, hey, look, we're not. This is not okay, and it stops here.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when you look at it, but I mean, there are so many obstacles against conservatives in inner cities. You know, and you mentioned Giovanni Patterson, your brother, ran for city council president in Baltimore City. Great guy. He ran on the idea of bringing back the family. Very intelligent guy. He was liked by many. He actually did well for a Republican in Baltimore City, but the pushback he got was he supported Trump. Not only that, but the media within the city totally blocked him out from even getting a platform as they do with the Democrat candidates. I myself went out and solicited various media media places within Baltimore City. They would not even allow him a chance to speak. It's concerted effort by the media complex, and again, like Trump said, they're enemies of the state at this point, because instead of them promoting the news and giving everyone an equal opportunity to share their platform, their voice, they will put up a brick wall and try to stop people who go against the Democrat establishment. And it's awful. It really is. It really is. And I think that's one reason why you do not see more independent-minded people getting elected in cities across the country.
I mean that's one of the reasons, definitely. I mean they want to keep power, and it's like a mafia state. They want to keep power, and they want to control the masses. So with all this narrative, white supremacy, be afraid of the white man, and the Republicans are racist. So whenever somebody comes and says that they're Republican, of course the first thing that lights up in the person's head, like in the black person's head, possibly, oh, I heard that they're racist, so I cannot possibly even look at this person. I cannot even listen to anything that this person has to say. So that's what's happening. And honestly, I mean, unfortunately, like Kendra said, it's a popularity contest, and that's true. And when you look at what is popular in the country, for example, it's not usually the best things that are popular. So like some of the worst music that is produced becomes popular. Movies that are very simplistic and stupid, they're popular. So anything that is requires a bit more thinking, it's not popular. So the electorate, I'm sorry, I mean that's they have also brought it onto themselves. If they're not going to open up their eyes, if they're not going to research, if we have the internet right now. It's not like you need someone to bring the news to you. Like you are able to search for the news. So I would also put it on the regular people. Take responsibility for their future, and look and research every candidate and every and different parties if you want things to be better.
Exactly. And what he talked about the criminality aspect of what's going on.
KJ, I just want to say that, I'm in a Republican state, and the same way that you guys deal with that with the Democratic Party, it's very much like that in the South. I'm in South Carolina, we dark red. And when you have people that are Democrat that are maybe more center or independent, they don't give them the same type of opportunity as they do the Republicans, because it's a popularity contest, and it's a stronghold. So I think that when it comes to politics in general, that has to stop across the board, because I think we win when we are diverse and we're able to come together in reason and find the best path forward. Everybody thinking the same way isn't going to get us to where we need to go. So we have to have people on both sides of the spectrum.
Have you had, and again, I don't know, so you tell me, have you had Republican controlled state house and locally for since 1942?
Probably since existed. Yeah, South Carolina's always been deep red.
Well, wait a minute. Not only that, even if they were, what are the policies that they put forth that have not worked? Because that's what we need to really assess. What are the policies, and are they working well to the benefit? No. So even if you had the Republicans, however long they've been in office in South Carolina, anywhere else, what policies have they put forth that are really detrimental and that is still being reelected? That is what we need to measure.
That's true.
I think that's true as well. I think listen, I think especially when it comes to the South and the South having its colored history, I think it's hard for people to receive people. Now we had Nikki Haley, and y'all know I'm an independent. My brother's talking about, I thought you was a Democrat. I'm an independent. I voted for Nikki Haley, okay? So and I voted for Tim Scott. So y'all can go ahead and stop playing in my face.
All right, I want to play this last clip. This is clip number 8, talking about the criminality within Baltimore City.
Reverend Smith, most recently, you specifically called out Senator Jill Carter. She's the chair for the Baltimore City Senate delegation, is known for her progressive approach to many policies. Why did you feel it important to specifically call her out?
She's the face and she's the voice of policies that impact the city of Baltimore. They hug the criminal element and they handcuff the citizens. We are hostages in our own homes and communities because she's so soft on criminals. You can consider the age, but here's the reality. Here's the reality. No matter what the age is, when they commit a criminal act, the heinousness of that act is just as heinous, and the death of that individual, that person is just as dead, and I'm the one who deals with the family that's trying to survive. So stop hugging the criminal and handcuffing the citizen. I was with our state's attorney when he went down there just to get the bill passed with regard to legislation and sentencing. And she was the one who fought it, along with Will Smith. He fought it. Along with Kleppinger, he fought it. I don't understand it. If you're concerned about crime, let's do something to empower the man who's been elected, the person who's been elected by the citizens of Baltimore to reduce the crime. We whine, we cry, we are outraged, but we don't take any action that really impact the crime, the reduction of the crime. For the last 8 years, over 300 homicides. We need to thank our mayor, Stephanie Rollins Blake, for that. And I'm calling her out. We need to thank her for that, because when she told the lawful authority to stand down, told the police to stand down, then the unlawful authority stands up. And they've been standing up ever since 2015 and Freddie Gray.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And she did that. She did that here in Baltimore. We had our George Floyd moment.
Yep.
It was Freddie Gray. Those who do not live here, you certainly can Google it, where Freddie Gray was kind of a terror in the neighborhoods, and he died while in police custody. And we had riots here, and the mayor at the time, Stephanie Rollins Blake, told the police to stand down and let the looters loot.
Give them space to destroy. And we talked about that on our few episodes ago, so they can look at our shows too, because we talked about her saying that and the impact that it has had. But look, I want to also add this with Pastor Smith, and he is absolutely correct. Talking about Jill Carter just a couple of days ago, and how these people in Annapolis are soft on crime. Just a couple of days ago, a 17-year-old was rightfully, I'm going to say that, rightfully shot by a police officer because he had a gun illegally. He had a gun and would not put it down. And guess who? Many other people, first of all, the media reported it as an officer shot a young black guy, or they shot a young black boy from the back. Almost hard, you had to dig down in the story to find out that this 17-year-old, who should have been in school at that time, number one, who was not allowed to even have a handgun, let alone a legal or illegal one. He should not have had one. And so the officer told him to drop it. He did not. And guess who the witnesses that they're interviewing? These people are upset and saying that the officer basically didn't have to shoot him. Really? Really? But again, we talked about this too, and I'm going to throw it in here. Legal gun owners, like Pastor said, they're handcuffing us, the legal citizens, and they are letting the criminals run loose. I have not heard, at least not yet, except for the police commissioner and even the mayor, to his credit, they are not condoning this young boy. So I think they need to come out a little bit more strongly. But so far, the people are up in arms because the police shot a 17-year-old male because he would not drop a gun that he had illegally. What kind of foolishness is this? Not one of them jokers from Annapolis have said anything yet. They haven't said one thing yet, at least that I have not heard.
Yeah, you're right. They're jokes. They're jokes. The people in power in Baltimore City and in Maryland are jokes. And let me show you how much of a joke they are. Of course, we've seen a rise in crime and theft and car break-ins within Baltimore City. And instead of them putting more police on the street, instead of them addressing this crime, they are suing Kia and Hyundai. So Baltimore City is suing Kia and Hyundai over lack of anti-theft tech. It's not just Baltimore. I believe it's Seattle as well. The trend challenges teens to steal a car off the street by breaking into the car, popping off the steering wheel and column, and hot wiring it. So now Baltimore City believes that the answer to this is to sue them. And I quote, they say the viral nature of how this has taken off on social media is accelerated this like we've never seen. And so they've have a lawsuit where they're suing Hyundai and Kia for this. It's
I got a question. I got a question. Okay. Y'all just made sure today was just gonna be my day of shame. I know y'all missed me these last couple weeks. Y'all was like, we just gonna have her out here shame. So what you telling me is that because TikTok can TikTok and I can record it and show you how to do it, that it's Kia them fault because people figured out how to steal them cars?
Yeah, pretty much.
And we gonna sue them because a whole bunch of folks been stealing cars in our city. It's Kia's fault.
Yep. Yeah. I'll read exactly in the complaint. It says the dramatically increased rate of Hyundai and Kia theft in Baltimore has required city and police resources that would not have been needed but for Hyundai and Kia's deliberate failures. Car thieves, many of them teenagers, take advantage of these failures and engage in reckless driving, creating substantial safety risks to themselves and Baltimore residents and their property. This was in the filing for them to sue Kia and Hyundai. This is what they're doing.
Kia and Hyundai laughed their butts out of the courtroom because how is that my fault? Like,
it's everybody's
disgrace. It's really a disgrace.
And it costs more to make the Kia and the Hyundai. And then, so if that's the case, is it gonna be their fault that people can't afford to buy their cars? And so can they now turn around and sue the cities because they made them upgrade the technology?
Not only that, but guess who's paying?
Y'all don't have enough to do.
Guess
y'all need to tell me y'all got so much going on in Baltimore that they was like, you know what we gonna do? We're not gonna address anything here in the city. What we gonna do? We gonna get Kia attorney on the line and we just gonna sue them.
Yep.
If y'all don't,
not only that, but we are paying for them. We are paying for them to file. The taxpayers are paying for them to the attorney fees and all. It's coming out of our pockets for them to do something stupid like this.
I think there's a similar thing in, I think it was either California or in Seattle, Washington, or whatever, where the store owners, they were told basically, to get more security, get the iron gates, put more locks on your doors. Well, what the hell are you paying insurance for? You're paying insurance, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, have a business, sustaining the economy, giving people jobs, but then the city doesn't do their part. They blame you because criminals, thugs, monsters, asinine people who have no home training. Can I say this word? Like my grandmother used to say, God rest her soul. I'm just gonna let you know, producers, you might want to beep it out. Niggers. That's what she used to call them. Niggers. Niggers don't care about anything. They will tear up, break down, destroy anything that they think that they're entitled to. That's what my grandmother used to say. And guess what? KJ says she's blacker than black. I'm black. My grandmother was blacker than both of us, okay? And she used to say the same thing. My uncle is 88. He still says it. He's black like we are. He says it. They don't care. But the taxpayers, the citizens, we're the ones who are footing the bill, coming in, coming out. Pull out your pay stub. And what do we get for it? We get more castigation. We get more handcuffs, like Pastor Smith says. We're the ones who keep footing the bills, and we keep voting these damn people in office. Sick of it. It's lunacy.
Yeah, it's going on in California. Here you have Governor Newsom. They're trying to pass some reparations bill where they're giving out millions of dollars to people who they say qualify. And who is paying this? Taxpayers. It's ridiculous.
It's what I was saying in the beginning. So really, we were wondering, like, why is it not changing? Why, these policies, the Democrats, they keep putting in these policies that are not working. But I think that people who are pulling the strings, they know that they're not working, and they're okay with it. They want people to riot and to kill each other, and they want, what I was saying earlier is that they want the collapse. And so this reminds me of before the communist revolution in Russia, the same thing was happening. There was a lot of crime, and what the communists, the Marxists, they would elevate these criminals because, well, they're criminals because of the unfair system, and they're not criminals because they're just bad people. No, it's the system that is bad. So if you talk to any leftists, that's what they're going to tell you. They never blame the person or their upbringing or whatever. It's the system. And so the system needs to be changed. That's the goal. So the more crime they see, the more chaos they see, the people who are on top, they want it. It's really really cruel and scary. And let me tell you, Joseph Stalin, who was the dictator of the Soviet Union, he was a criminal before, and he became the leader of the country. So that is what's happening. So you have to be really, dig deeper and understand that somebody is creating this.
You're right, and you're exactly right, Yana. Because when you think about it, the whole idea of this DEI, of this critical race theory, is to lay the blame on a country. That the country is systemically racist, oppressor oppressed, and so when you do that, that is the system. That is the entire system they're saying is bad. So what do you do to fix it? You got to tear it all down, and then what do you put in place? Communism, Marxism. And so you're right. And that's what we have here.
It's people who want to transform. We talked about this. Remember, fundamentally transform America. Obama said that. And that's what they want to do. They want to transform America by using these tactics.
Yeah, you're right. And not only that, and how do they do it? They do away with what they call oppressive structures, like capitalist economy, like the two-parent family. That's why now we're seeing all this sexualization of children, and they're including it in education. All of this tears away at the two-parent household. It goes on and on and on. You're absolutely right. And we have. I want to also. I want to highlight our super chatters. Again, we have here Barbara. She has done here. Grateful for this channel and all of you and your guests. Thank you so much. Also, who else? Not sure if I said Kenzie14. Thank you again for your comments throughout the night. And then we also have here, let's see here. I want to acknowledge everyone. Evie, I love these ladies. We have to support them. Thank you so much, Evie. So good. We had to name you twice, huh? So thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Yep. So certainly appreciate all of the comments, starred and unstarred tonight. Certainly enjoy you guys. You are our 5th host. All of you there chiming in with your comments, and we definitely appreciate it. Share this broadcast, as I always say, even with the nutty leftists. Share it with them. Don't tell them I called them nutty, though. But
no, tell them the truth.
Yeah, I'm just joking. But share it. We love a good discussion, and we would invite them on. Because this is what it's all about. It's not about censorship. It's not about cancel. We will invite them on, and as long as they're respectful, come with their supported facts, and we'll have a great discussion. So please share it with them, and we'll continue to chat. So again, we are at the end of the time tonight. Any last thoughts, ladies? I want to start with you, Yana.
Well, it was. I think we had we talked about a lot of issues, and I have hope for. In fact, the pastor really gave me hope, and for Baltimore, I hope that he has a good congregation, and that people who listen to him actually do some outreach, and that he is not the only person saying these things. So that's actually an opportunity for Republicans, for conservatives to go out there and call people to the truth. And so I hope that more people speak up.
Absolutely. I want to get final thoughts from you, Kendra, tonight, all the way from South Kakalaki.
I just want to thank y'all for shaming me because I missed last week. But I love you guys dearly. Hopefully next week I won't be in the hot seat. It can be someone else's turn. But it was fun as always.
Yes, we love you too, Kendra. And we're going to make you MAGA before it's all over with. We're gonna make you mad again.
I don't know about that one. You have me just
ultra mad.
I hit the button, but I ain't gonna be there. I don't know. Don't know.
All right. Shelly, any final thoughts for tonight?
Yep. What I generally say, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Get your children to the range and stop voting Democrats. Democrat policies are deadly and we are being destroyed.
All right. All right. That does it for us tonight. That brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Continue the conversation by checking us out on our YouTube as you've been doing all night, Twitter and Facebook. Also, you can see we have our Instagram tags on there. Connect with us on Instagram, on social media, and subscribe. If you haven't done so already, definitely subscribe to our YouTube. We are creating a community of like-minded people and people who may not, you guys may not agree with everything that we say. I had some people who disagreed with me earlier in the broadcast about DeSantis and Trump. Fine, we love it. I look at the comments and it definitely, helps me and I enjoy it. So definitely continue to subscribe and share this broadcast. That way you get up to the minute content when we post, and we appreciate the support. We are an independent media. As we've seen with the Durham Report, we need independent media. So each time you subscribe, it helps make our voice that much stronger. We are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. You can check us out on our website at www.popandpoliticslive.com. Again, on YouTube, if you're watching there, you can check us out on YouTube at pop-politics. Pop-and-politics. So, or you can just Google on YouTube, Pop and Politics. You find us there. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.